Hello everyone, it is Briximus Prime, back for another Transformers Legacy action figure review, and today we're going to be reviewing the Transformers Legacy Prime Universe Knockout. And yeah, let's just get right on into the review by starting with that packaging. And the packaging here just looks like the current Legacy packaging. Nice image right there of the vehicle mode. Got the name, Legacy, Transformers. Got some nice images right here of Knockout and him in his robot mode and his face close-up. Here on the top says Legacy. Here on the side, you got that image right there. Authentic Transformers! Here on the back of the box, you got all the nice shots there of Knockout and his transformation. And then there's the barcode that features his stats. And then taking a look at the barcode here, looks like we got that GIF of him right there. That looks pretty good. And then it says that his name is Knockout. He's a Decepticon. He's from the Prime Universe. He turns into a sports car. He's a medic. His signature weapon is a battle spear. Produces an electrical current that shocks enemies at close range. And then his bio says that he is a slick talker with a vehicle mode that matches, and he would prefer tearing people apart than putting them together. And his stats are 7, 10, 9, and a 7. And yeah, that is basically it for the packaging here. Sorry, I had a stroke. Knockout here comes with 2 accessories. Here is his Energon infused weapon. It's this little dagger thing with the blue metallic paint right there, and it's cast in this dark gray smoky plastic. And then he also comes with this little blaster right here, and looks pretty alright. There's nothing too remarkable about it, but these weapons are also intended to combine together, and then it kind of forms into his iconic spear thing that he used in the Transformers Prime cartoon, as well as an accessory that was prominently included with him in a lot of his previous toys. So, very nice accessory here. And as for storage, basically you can just peg these on to anywhere there is a 5mm port. So that is really it for the accessories. And here is taking a look at Knockout's head sculpt. It looks very good. He does have these little panel lines that go right underneath his eyes and onto his cheekbones, which looks a little bit weird because that wasn't on the original design. But hey, I don't really mind it too much. And the head sculpt looks pretty good. The head sculpt and the chest are the only brand new parts that I am aware of. Everything else is an exact retool and carryover from the Studio Series 86 Jazz mold. He's got the little Decepticon logo right there. And again, I like his eyes and everything on his face. Looks very handsome, I guess. Across the rest of the figure, because it is based on the Studio Series 86 Jazz mold, all the essential molding and sculpting is there, and again, it gives him more of that G1 aesthetic, more than the actual Transformers Prime design. So he's got a lot of those panel lines, and a lot of the great mechanical detailing that always carries over from a lot of those figures. But what is very different about this figure compared to Jazz is that he has an entirely different alternate mode. We'll get to that in a minute, but overall, I think the robot mode turned out just fine. I know that some people are kind of turned off by these Transformers Prime-esque figures, where they're not exactly the same as actual Transformers Prime. The whole concept here is that this is what these characters would look like if they existed in a G1 continuity. And I don't really mind the concept, I just know that it's not everyone's cup of tea. Going over his articulation, he has a ball joint at the head, which allows him to look up and down. He can look left and right. His head can pivot from side to side a little bit. Shoulders can rotate a full 360. They can move in and out. Bicep swivel. 90 degrees of bend at the elbow. No wrist swivel, just moves in and out due to transformation. The shoulders also shift due to transformation, but it's not as prominent on this figure as it was on Jazz. He does have a waist swivel. Also, this little tab right here in his abdomen is supposed to tab in right there, and on Jazz it was pretty tight, but on this guy it's actually quite loose, so just be aware of that. Like I said, waist swivel. This piece can flap up and down to accommodate for different poses. Hips can move forward, they can move back, they can move outward that far. He does get a thigh swivel. He does have a bend at the knee, and then due to transformation, it does tend to untab and give him an extra bend, which you can use to your advantage. And then he has this slight toe bend, and then an ankle pivot. So very good articulation here on Knockout. Just the essential articulation that I always need. For some repaint and mold comparisons, just to give you a specified, look. As you can see, here on Jazz and Knockout, they do use the same abdomen, the same waist, the same thighs, and the same legs, but these car parts on the sides are different. The the toes are different, the feet are different, but the arms are also an exact carryover, as well as I think a couple parts of the roof. Maybe those are new, I'm not quite so sure. I think they are retools because the doors are different. And then the head and chest are obviously completely different. But yeah, just wanted to kind of specify some of the specific parts that have been retooled on Knockout here that I took a look at. And then here is Knockout compared next to the last Prime Universe Legacy figure that I took a look at, the Transformers Legacy Prime Universe Bulkhead, specifically the Wreck and Rule Collection version, because I don't really own that original version anymore, but in between those two. And then comparing Knockout here to my last Transformers Legacy review, here he is compared next to the Transformers Legacy Velocitron Speedia 500 Scourge and Override. We'll go over...
Hey, watch the paint!
Transformation. That I definitely appreciate about this figure that it really nails, because it was a big part of Knockout's character in Transformers Prime, was his alternate mode. Knockout cared very much about how his vehicle mode looked and how nice he looked, and heck yeah, this vehicle mode definitely knocks it out of the ballpark, especially with all those retooled parts like I mentioned. Again, it looks awesome. The front of the vehicle looks great. It's got the nice grille and everything. It's got the Decepticon logo. It's got the headlights, all the molded detail. I liked the smoked out windows. You can't really see all the kibble under there. Those bright yellow rims look very good.
Sweet rims.
Shapes going across, and how they fade from that dark silver into the red looks very nice. Very nice touch. And overall, just a very nice looking car mode. And then as for weapon storage, obviously you can just plug this on top. I mean, you guys know how weapon storage kind of works at this point for figures like this. And also, to pay the devil his due, the wheels do roll very well. For vehicle mode comparisons, here is the Knockout and Jazz vehicle modes compared next to each other. Like I said, the retooling really stands out mostly in these modes. And as Knockout has always said,
I do so resent a finish flashier than my own.
Oh, is it really too much to ask to transform this guy? Because honestly, I don't feel like it. And then here is Knockout compared next to the last Legacy figures I reviewed, the Override and the Scourge. And yeah, that is basically it for my review on the Transformers Prime Universe Legacy Knockout. It's a really solid deluxe class figure. I mean, it's already based on the Studio Series 86 Jazz, which was already an amazing figure on its own. And again, I really appreciate the retooling they went through to really make the vehicle mode shine through, because that is a big part of Knockout's character, and I think they really knocked it out of the ballpark. I swear I did not do that on purpose. And again, I do love the transformation, because it is, a really good transformation from Jazz. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. The transformation is very intuitive, and it does a great job at making him translate from his car mode to his robot mode, and translate from toy to cartoon model. I honestly don't think this guy looks that bad compared to the cartoon model. The only thing that I could really nitpick is that his chest sticks out a little too far compared to that animation model, because his chest was a little more streamlined and whatever, but honestly, there's nothing much to really complain about. If I was really reaching for complaints, I would maybe say add some wrist swivel on this guy. I mean, that was something I was missing on the Jazz that I wish was there, but honestly, it's not that big of an issue. The only thing that really bugs me, that legitimately bugs me, is that he kind of doesn't really have a good way of holding his spear, but he doesn't have a hard time holding the gun, though. And yeah, I'm glad I didn't really have to do a whole breakdown. Oh crap, I did it again. On this figure, because I still think that this guy is a great figure, but he's also based on a mold that I haven't really reviewed on the channel, but I still really love, so I'm glad I was able to break it down for you guys that way. So anyway, that is basically it for this review. If you guys, if I had to give this figure a rating, I give him a solid 8 out of 10. And yeah, that is basically it for this review. Be sure to subscribe to the channel for more Transformers videos. Be sure to leave me a like on the video, comment down below what you guys think, and I'll catch you guys next time.